this is like take 4 of this video, but this morning I was working with a client, going through essentially a post-production workflow for a small team. And I thought it might be useful to sort of take the content, make it a little bit more generic and share it more broadly. And, for those here in the community who are looking to build a video department, basically. So here's a post-production team workflow. Let's say you might already have some team members, or you could be starting from scratch. But basic scenario. Let's go ahead and make it like a fake case study. Let's say you're a company launching something, a product or service, and you have an overview video, and you have product demos and tutorials, maybe some testimonials. You want to do some webinars to get the word out. There's, of course, social media, and then all the different deliverables contextual to platforms for social media. Oh, and there's a video podcast and an audio podcast, and on and on and on. And then, of course, the campaigns just sort of keep going. And so you have the digital marketing folks saying, oh, I've got to get the word out. And there's all the ideas of how to get the message out. And then you've got, the execution on that. So this is about the execution on that. This is a workflow for how to, or a sample workflow, a very simple one for how to automate and scale something that delivers. And so you get a return on investment on your video investments, team infrastructure, et cetera, and accomplish a business objective. So, okay, let's go through it. So, so production. So production and post-production, real quick overview. So production is the creation of source assets, whether you buy them, make them, footage, audio, graphics, voiceover, the creation or licensing, acquisition of assets, which you then assemble and deliver. Assembly and delivery is post-production. So let's say, most of the time we have some kind of production. Even if we're sourcing assets from that we already have, we could almost call that production. Okay, so camera original means stuff out of the camera. So let's say you have your footage, which is very valuable from production, and you want to bring it to your office or a second location. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you really want your media in 3 places. But this is simple. Let's say you shoot, you bring your stuff back to the office, or you shoot and you give it to a post-production vendor, or some other secondary secure location. This is pretty minimal. But after you've done that, this actually kind of goes like this. Only in one place will we do something, and this is also based on Adobe. So that Premiere is referencing Adobe Premiere. The principles here sort of work across different tools, but you would be in a good spot if you standardize a project template. So anyone who's worked in post-production, you understand that there are these principles for collaboration, or how you set up a project with they're called bins, which are like folders full of media and assets. And then there's sequences, which are the timelines that end up being videos. So standardizing the foundation of that is the beginning of automation and collaboration. So a person can sit down at the project and they know how to work without having to waste time finding his or her way around. Okay, so there are automation tools that are great. I like this one called Posthaste, which is just this little tiny free tool, which is great. And so, hey, project came in, we got the name. This automates it, gives it a number, very important. Puts that number on every project file inside of a folder structure, which is duplicated. So every Premiere project, Photoshop file, After Effects file will have the same numbers. And why do we want numbers? Well, so we can build ourselves a media asset management system, which is different than a digital asset management system. Media asset management system is basically an asset system tailored for large amounts of footage, basically. That's an oversimplification if you're in that world. It's a whole career. But there are tools today like Airtable. I've made custom, simple, free, except for the time involved to make it, media asset management system tools in Airtable. But let's say you have any database, you have a unique identifier for a project. So as you make a product overview for the widget, you bring it in, you go into your automation tool, you say, this is the product overview for the widget. You don't make up the number. The automation tool makes the number. Very important. And then in Airtable, when you make a new record, it automatically makes the number. Also very important. Anyway, this all links together. So this is for here. Okay, back over here. so you can find stuff later. Okay, so now here comes the really fun part. Now, let's assume because the way things are working and the way things are always going to work, or likely always going to work, that people keep making 4K cameras, 8K cameras, 16K cameras, etc. And the files just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So we would love to be able to have workstations working on stuff where you just put it all on a central server and then everybody could just connect to it, right? It doesn't work like that with video. It's largely because of the size of the files, the nature of video codecs, and the rewrite speed, the access in real time to stream the media back, or multiple people streaming the same file back. Don't worry about it. The point is, creating proxy media is a very traditional but still often used tool. So proxy media means you take your 4K footage, your 8K footage, and you have a house codec, a house proxy codec, which is carefully designed, which is a lower resolution. Certain things have to be the same, like audio channels, and you you automate what is our house proxy codec and resolution, etc. So you take all your stuff, you automate a new Premiere project folders, and then you bring in your camera original, which is very large data, and you cook it. You cook all those files, they become proxy media. So, and it's a big difference. It's not like the files get half the size. They're like a tenth of the size. They're much, much smaller. Very, very easy to work with. And then you prepare them to be shared. So there are lots of ways you can do this. There are sort of specialized tools like Lucid Link. There's Microsoft OneDrive or Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever. But you have cloud storage. So they're small enough that you could put them on the cloud. Now, because you have a folder in the cloud with all your proxy files, which link back to the original files, you can now share. And it used to be that people would have different Premiere projects and it would make kind of a mess. These days, Adobe has some really nice tools that are included in the base Creative Cloud, like Team Projects, where you have really one Premiere file and you can collaborate inside of that file. Still takes a little bit of a ramp up to get everybody working on it, but it's less complex as far as errors or not being able to, people slowing down. People can collaborate now a little easier than before. And then you have Frame.io or some kind of proofing and review tool so that as people are working, other people can see the work who aren't in Premiere. Now we finish our work collaboratively. We have as a locked cut, as picture lock, as in we know what we've made. We've got the story straight. We don't have the perfect graphics. We don't have the perfect audio. We don't have the perfect color. We're not done with all of the finishing. But we do want to finish the piece, especially if we have this gorgeous footage. We have all this dynamic range because we used a really nice cinema camera. And so we've been working with these little files. That's the cost. You can't do the really fine detail stuff with the high resolution files if you're in the proxy files. So now we have our locked cut and we can go to finish it. Now we need to be near the source media, which back here at the top, right, was either in the office or somewhere else. But that's where you do your finishing. And then you archive it. Okay. And archive is a whole other topic because the data really piles up. So you can have a strategy to lose the camera original, which is risky, but not exactly wrong. But if you really want to keep everything, you end up with something like LTO tape, or just various sort of storage solutions. Anyway, I'm getting way beyond myself because I like this stuff. And of course, you have your MAM where you update what happened. Where is everything? Where is the render? Where are the master files? And there's another thing to sort of know, which is, this is actually an entire profession. And when you're making your proxy media, you can put in lots and lots of things, lots of different kinds of metadata, and you can get really, really, really well organized. For if you had 20, 50, or 100 people, you'd have a consultant come in and build a way better, more complex thing than this. But this, in summary, this basic workflow is for someone or an organization where you're doing things like duplicating the master media, or trying to figure out if you need to buy workstations for everybody, or wondering if you are forced to hire a full-time video editor because remote workflow looks so challenging. So that's what the value of this type of work is that it opens up options. So this is a simplified version, and obviously I just made it here in 10 minutes for you. Anyway, I hope that's a good start. If anybody has any questions or thoughts or comments, I would love to go into any. These are all like subtopics you could go on to forever. I've been in post-production for 15, 17 years, and I was a full-time editor for about 10, and I have 10 of those here and there. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. My company is Denver Video Consultants, denvervideo.com. If anybody needs help, go ahead and come say hi. Okay. Thanks again. Have a good day. And subscribe or something if you want more of this stuff.